What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. Welcome. It is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024, year of our Lord. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up to all of my people? It is a good day. We just coming off of another hit show, another one. We had another hit show last night. It was popping. And if you did not tune into it, then you need to go back, subscribe, hit a like for the algorithm, and make sure that you check out the Q show from last night. You know what I'm saying? For all of y'all that was there, I hope y'all enjoyed it because there's a lot that goes on. A lot that goes on to make sure that we putting on these hit shows for y'all. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I rock with y'all. And we here. What up, friends? What up? Chat Lives Matters. Justice Wiggs says that was a good show last night. It's always a good show, ain't it? Eric says last night was crazy. I agree. I agree. Mies agrees. Yeah. What up? What up? What up? It was wild. It was wild. Lafayette Howell says, check out what this guy says. I've never seen him before. Is this the Trump network for black people? This is the Truth Network for all people. All right? This is the Truth Network for all people. Now, I am going to give my opinion, but I do not believe in silencing people, and so I do not operate in an echo chamber. There is plenty of people, led by Eric D. in the chat. There is plenty of people that tune into this show that got a completely different perspective, and we don't silence them. We just let them rock because chat lives matter. So if you are looking for an echo chamber, you are in the wrong place. If you're looking for somebody to take a hard stance based off of my principles, my convictions, my experience, and what I think makes the most sense for the people, then you are in the right place. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? You said I cooked last night? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I was on Fox Business yesterday. I didn't even know I was going to be on Fox Business till I was on Fox Business. You know what I'm saying? We taking care of business, get what it got to take care of, do what it got to do. All right. So shout out to y'all. All right. So let's get to it, y'all. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my dog ESDC in the building. Thank you for the Cash App. Also, shout out to Mike that dude. I appreciate you, Mike that dude, always holding us down. Let me also, we're not incorrectly agreeing today. That was the craziest. And then the chick had the nerve to say she was a life coach. That was insane. JP, what up, says, did you see the AOC and Walt's stream on Madden, a stream with Madden on Twitch? Look, man, let me tell you something about that. If that's not the fakest, most manufactured situation, AOC and Tim Walz, I seen that nonsense come across my algorithm. If that's not the most manufactured fake thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, that is so corny. Hey, let's try to reach the young voters by streaming on Twitch and playing Madden. The Democratic Party is pathetic. Honest to God. It's so inauthentic. It's so pathetic. Eric Wealth Harris says, we're not going to incorrectly agreeing today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you from watching the show last night. C. Hayes says, Anton, make sure you don't agree incorrectly again. I said, what is this chick talking about? You, Ava, Carey, and Molly will. Hey, man, I'm putting together the Avengers featuring all of my ladies. Shout out to the ladies. Make sure y'all tuning into After Hours tonight because we're going to recap the show along with so many other things with me, my friends, including Carey and Quentin and Slimmy. All right? How about we go ahead and get started with the show? Y'all want to get started with the show? Let's get started with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't think that we necessarily have to dedicate an entire individual segment to, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop of what's going on out in these streets, man. All right? So, first things first. Chicago. Oh, I'm sorry, not Chicago. I'm so used to saying Chicago. New York City. Just as bad, just a little bit bigger as far as population is concerned. In New York City, 5 young boys has been killed in 5 days in an epic binge of violence that is happening in the city that cannot be quelled. Take a look.
A teenager shot and killed in the Bronx, and it's just the latest killing in a rash of deadly gun insanity involving young people in New York City, a spree that started last Thursday. And good evening, everyone. At 11 o'clock, I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Better-Moi. We begin tonight with Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang with the breaking details in the Bronx.
As investigators look for answers in the crime scene behind me, a larger, darker pattern is at play. 5 boys have now lost their lives to gun violence in 5 separate incidents in the last 5 days. And that's 5 too many. Monday night's murder erupted in the Longwood section of the Bronx. According to police, an 18-year-old boy was shot in the head and body at 7 p.m. and pronounced dead at Lincoln Hospital. The nightly string of killings actually began last Thursday in Harlem. We're told 16-year-old Clarence Jones was gunned down on West 124th Street. The next night was East Flatbush, Brooklyn. Police report 15-year-old Malachi DeBerry was fatally shot just steps from his home in East Flatbush, followed by a 16-year-old boy killed in the Fort Greene section of Brooklyn Saturday night. Sunday was no day of rest. According to authorities, 15-year-old Tristan Sanders was shot and killed in Crown Heights. And now, Monday night, a 5th young life claimed by gun violence in as many days.
Y'all don't have to worry about the police. You ain't got to worry about white people. You know, for all of the black people that always say, oh man, racism is racist. You ain't got to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. Anybody that's living in these urban communities that's always claiming, oh, racism, people that say, we're people of color now. You don't have to worry about it. Between the fact that y'all wanted to defund the police, between the fact that y'all continue to vote liberal, and then also on top of that, you got all of these different mayors and legislators that's just letting everything run wild, and the budget is going crazy, and the property taxes is low, and y'all eliminating yourselves. Population between Planned Parenthood, defunding the police, and the cultural norms that we see happening every day, we don't have to worry about y'all ever going past 13.6% of the population, ever. You ain't got to worry about it. We good, they good. They know that y'all not going nowhere. Y'all going to populate, steal from each other, kill each other, and then create a new generation of killers that we think that people can then profit off of, and then they can sway y'all to vote a certain type of way, and then you continue to pass on generational curses. In addition to that, Chicago mayor ran on the idea of not raising property taxes. And less than 1 year into his tenure, guess what he's about to do?
Well, Mayor Brandon Johnson could propose a Chicago property tax increase, even though during his campaign, he promised not to. Now, the city has been under a hiring freeze to address the nearly $1 billion budget shortfall. According to City Hall sources, the mayor has briefed some alders that in his budget address, he will be proposing a property tax hike as a way to bridge the gap. During an interview with ABC7's Mark Rivera earlier this month, Mayor Johnson suggested property tax hikes could be needed.
I don't want cuts. I don't want layoffs. Look, I saved the taxpayers over $200 million in last year's budget.
Cap.
But the harsh reality is this, is that our expenses have outpaced our revenue.
So let me ask y'all a question. When your expenses outpace your revenue, as a regular everyday person, right? We all got income that comes in, and then at the end of 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is that you get paid off of, at the end of the day, if your expenses outweighs your income, how do you solve for that? Well, one, you can make more money, but then it doesn't solve for the fact that you continue to have lifestyle creep, keep up with the Joneses, and overspending on things that's not necessary. So the first thing that you have to do as a regular everyday person, let alone from a corporate perspective or even looking at it from a political, you know what I'm saying, city, because that's the most wasteful place that you can ever. Waste don't happen in your household or in corporate America as much as it happens in the city. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that you're supposed to do is you're supposed to cut the fat. All right, listen, baby, you're doing a little bit too much shopping. We've been door dashing a lot. We got all of these stupid car notes that we don't need, that we can't afford. We need to sell the cars. We need to lower our lifestyle. We need to make adjustments and stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. We don't need to take no more trips. We need to tighten our belts and stay down and get rid of this debt and get rid of this credit card debt. Nope. You know what the cities do? You know what Chicago does? They lie to you to get elected. They say that they're going to change the budget. This is the only job in the world where you have a guaranteed contract, because in corporate America, if you're not meeting expectations of the board of directors or the shareholders, they get you up out of there. And you know what they do? They go to the well. You know who the well is? You. So when I tell y'all every day, because y'all keep telling me, well, Kamala Harris is saying that this and that, and they're going to give you this, you ain't got to worry about it. You ain't going to be able to afford a house no matter where you live in any of these urban communities in these democratic cities. You know why? Because they taxing you to death on the back end. Because they so bad in managing the city and they got so many bad policies, guess what they do? They going to come back to you and say, listen, we know that we said that we was going to hold these billionaires accountable, but even though the billionaires are the ones that's pouring into our coffers in order to get us elected so they can get richer, guess what we going to do? We going to sell our streets and we going to make sure that we raise property taxes. Yeah, and we're not going to add no police officers. We're going to remove ShotSpotter. We just renewed a new $100 million contract in order to make sure that these migrants have adequate staffing. We're going to combine homeless shelters. We're going to have the migrant shelters and the homeless shelters become one. And then we're going to raise your property taxes. They just raised y'all property taxes. Hey, but this is what I don't want y'all to do. This is what I don't want y'all to do. I don't want you moving to somewhere else so that you can avoid the responsibility of the way that you voted. If you from Chicago, if you from New York, if you from Oakland, stay there. Stay there. If you from Dalton, don't worry about it. Just endure through it. Just stay there. Property taxes, homes going foreclosure, property tax auction, bad mayors, bad police, gangs. Lil Durk is the representative of Chicago, ain't he? Just stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Y'all believe in it. Y'all cape for it. Y'all had him speaking at the Democratic National Convention. He ran on no new taxes. And guess what? Before his first year in office, he's already proposing a new property tax increase. And Cook County already raised y'all property taxes on average between 50 and 86%. Yeah, no. Keep voting Democrats. You got it. And then last but not least, a high school coach is overseeing $1 million scheme, allegedly. Check it out.
Yes, I'm Daniela Guzman. My co-anchor Keith Garvin is on assignment tonight. Well, this is a statewide teacher certification cheating scandal that means fraudulently certified teachers may be in your child's classroom. The crime ring allegedly ran out of Harris County, and tonight, 5 people are facing felony charges so far. We have live team coverage.
Nah, y'all got to stay. Y'all got to stay.
With KPRC2's Bryce Newberry breaking down how this all happened. But we want to start with Mario Diaz at one of the schools where the arrest happened today. Mario.
I'm here at Booker T. Washington High School, where behind me the full court press was on, according to investigators. The operation here was a search for dollars with regards to a fake certification of teachers program. And the man who was allegedly behind it all, the boys' basketball coach. His name, Vincent Grayson, a well-known courtside figure within HISD. In 2023, the 57-year-old guided Booker T. Washington to their first ever UIL state tournament. Then earlier this year at the Houston Sports Awards, he was nominated for High School Coach of the Year. Now, Coach Grayson did not operate alone, according to investigators. There were 4 others, including 2 assistant principals, one from Booker T. Washington, the other from Yates High School. So a total of 3 educators overall. And again, according to prosecutors, they worked to falsify at least 200 teacher certifications. I asked an HISD official about the potential impact for parents regarding their children's grades from teachers who may not have been certified.
A child's grades have nothing to do with whether or not the teacher was certified or not certified, or whether or not the teacher obtained their certification fraudulently. I do think the implication for all of us should be that we need to hold everyone to a higher bar. Our leaders, our teachers. HISD does not thinks it's completely unacceptable that this type of conduct could happen in our profession.
Now, school let out here about 90 minutes ago, and there were a line of parents here lined up behind me. I was able to track down one father whose daughter attended school. I spoke to both of them about the arrest, not only the assistant principal, but again, of the boys' basketball coach here at Booker T. Washington.
Listen, we all know that sports is the most important thing in the hood at Booker T. Washington High School.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what to say about that.
Hold on. Listen, y'all. Look. I know we not in the 2000s. Shout out to April L. I'm appreciating you, baby. I'm gonna read that shortly. I know we not in the 2000s, but let me make my pitch to y'all. All right. I know we not in 99 in the 2000. It's for the 99 in the 2000. Cause you working with some cash here and yeah. We not in that. But listen, y'all. If you are above the age of 40, looking like you're approaching the age of 50, and I know they stealing from the kids. I know that they out here getting certified and they not qualified. Y'all familiar with that? That's what y'all been doing. Y'all said, I'm going to apply to the job and I'm going to act like I know what I'm doing and hopefully I can learn on the job. I know that the kids is out here walking around at a 3rd grade reading level and the people that's teaching them ain't qualified to teach them, and the parents is holding the teachers accountable because the parents is full of the streets too. I know this. That's normal in y'all communities, but then y'all want to leave and bring your ratchetness out to the suburbs and try to get a better school district and say that it's best for your kids. I know that the migrants is overrunning y'all school district and all of that, and it's cool. But if you are above the age of 40 and you above the age of 50, and you still got braids in your hair, and you not Allen Iverson, let it go, let it go. Hey, man, we got to grow up. We got to grow up. At some point, we have to grow up. The black lips is out. No more black lips. Cornrows past the age of 50 is wild to me. That's why our children look at us as fools and buffoons, and they say that we can do it because granddad is still doing it. He got grandchildren, and he still got cornrows, and he's still getting his hair braided. Honestly, bro, this is wild. We are in the last days, ladies and gentlemen. And then they ask him about what's going on in the school, and he said, "It's crazy." Man, that man trying to get back to his PlayStation 5 and his Wii.
Hey, gotta be careful of people.
What was the general reaction?
Hey, what's your reaction? Hey, it's crazy. We gotta be careful with people.
By all the kids when the news broke?
I'm not sure, but in my class, everyone was like gathered up, reading it off one phone. Everyone was surprised, and then I guess they just went around the school telling everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, Shout out to April L. I appreciate you. April says, enjoyed being on the panel last night. Hey, April. It was a good show last night. It was awesome. Let me continue. Let me hit a couple of super chats and then we're going to get into the show, all right? V. Nicole, RN. Yeah, I like that. Says Q show was lit. We need to see Ava again for sure. You killed the life coach. Got her in line. You gave her grace, though. Only if she knew she was really dealing with, Hey, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to talk about that because I'm not the same Anton. I've evolved. High Tolerance says, good morning, AD. Mr. Beat reporter caught that contact as soon as he rolled down the car smelling like trees. Veneer text, now teacher text. Oh, all right. With that being said, let me say my piece really quickly. Hey, y'all, look, listen, y'all. Before we get started with the show, I want to just say this. Last night was wild because people, it's so funny because no matter how long I do this, no matter how many shows I do, no matter how many videos is done, people can't wait to come up there and tell me what it is. I wasn't talking to you. Neck on a chicken string, snatching dreams out the air, on the live stream looking like Celie. Miss Celie? And they got the nerve to be life coaches. I said, good God. But I'm a changed man. I'm international Anton nowadays. Kristen, have I not evolved? Am I changing? And we all got to change. We all got to evolve. We all got to be better versions of ourselves. Yes, we do. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. Anton just had hella restraint. You know, I didn't even need restraint last night because I'm a different person. I didn't have to go get the black hoodie and then start to do what I do and do what I did back in 3 years ago. That was a time in my life, but we've evolved. We've become better. We've become more profitable. We've gone corporate. And we all need to change and we all need to evolve. But let me tell you something. Our frustration and the fact that we are emotional because we care so much does not mean that we don't have to make logical decisions. And this is the thing that I was telling them on the show last night. I said, listen, men in general cannot afford to lean into our emotions because I feel as much as as much as people try to make it seem like, oh, Anton, you don't care. You always hold people accountable, whatever. No, I genuinely do feel. I do. Let me give y'all a little bit of insight that y'all may not know. I am one of the most emotional people that I have ever met in my entire life. I'm going to give you a little bit of a revelation. I am one of the most emotional people. When I was being raised, and I see this in my daughter, and I'm training her and I've conditioned her differently because I know who I was, and I see that it's almost been passed down into her, but she's learned how to control her emotions because she's been in sports and taekwondo, and so she's been able to manage herself much more effectively than I did when I was younger. But when I was younger, I was very emotional. I mean, I hated to see certain things happen in life. When I would see things happen on the street, it would bother my soul. It would really, really get to me. I had a hard time when I was growing up looking people in their eyes because whenever I would look them in their eyes, I would have to do like this because I would start watering up. I would start tearing up a little bit because it was difficult for me to look at them and see who they were becoming and see what their future was, even as a young man, and not be bothered by it. And so, you know, my father started really getting involved because he was like, Anton, if you keep going like this, you're going to have a heart attack, or you're going to crash out when you get older, or you're going to meet a girl one day and she going to pull on your heartstrings and then you're going to turn into a crash dummy. Then he said, I can't have that. So my father started teaching me, and he got involved in my life, and he started to help me to understand as I aged and as I became a teenager right? Because I was one of the type of kids that I would get into a fight in elementary school and middle school. I would get into fights and stuff like that. And so we said, listen, you can't react to everything that people say to you. And life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And it always stuck with me. And so as I aged and as I went into high school and college, I learned how to manage myself more effectively, which the young lady was right. But what she didn't realize was that I was adding context to her conversation. And so we all have emotions, but men, boys turning into men, and this is why you need strong fathers in your life. Men at some point have to learn how to manage it more effectively. Some of us manage it through sports. Some of us become great business owners. Some of us learn how to adjust and evolve. And some of us continue to lean into that, and then they become more feminine because they've become versions of their mother, and so they become crash dummies. And that doesn't change you from being a man, but what it does is it shows in your actions. So when you then run into people on a regular basis, and let's say you get into a confrontation, you're not able to walk away and you crash out because you got to see it through because ain't nobody going to disrespect me. No, it's much more conducive for your life and for your family and for the people that you then are supporting for you to put down that emotion and make a logical decision, because the emotions is going to get you to crash out. And what I see from people happening every day, even when it comes to this political process, is that people are emotional, and that's how they play into you, is that they control your emotions by telling you things and selling you on things. And because you don't do the research, and that's one of the ways in which my father had managed me for more effectively, said, Anton, anything that you want to do, let's say you want that car over there, you sleep on it. You never make an emotional decision. You never let the salesman get to you. You love the sales, but it doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily make the decision. You sleep on it, and then if you wake up in the morning and you still want that car, then you start doing the research, and then you figure out whether or not it makes sense for your budget. And it helped me. It helped me significantly, and it changed my life. And so when I see people every single day not able to control themselves or not evolving to become the better version of themselves, it's either one of two things. Either I know that they were raised by their mother and they can't control themselves, or number two, they just inherently need to be left behind. But either way, nobody can play into your emotions. And what I see from all of the women that was on the panel last night that had that red hat on, they left the emotion out of it and they started talking logically. And all of the ones that was crash dummies, they needed to be left behind. And what you're going to have to understand is that you're going to have to leave some people behind. And it's unfortunate because it's one of the most emotional and difficult things for us to do in life. You have family members that no longer serve you. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It means that they're confused and they're ignorant, or they refuse to change, or they've been hardened in their ways. And so they've been sold the Kool-Aid, and they're preventing you from getting to the next level. But because you're emotional, you're not able to make a business decision that's ultimately going to be best for your daughter, for your son, for the people that depend on you, for your future employees that you can then employ and make sure that you take care of their families. But you're never going to get to the point to where you even have that business because you're too busy trying to keep it real with the people that's keeping you down. When it comes to relationships, some of y'all are so involved with people that no longer have your best interests at heart. But what you do, and I'm not talking about the people with kids, I'm not talking about the people that's married, I'm not talking about people that really have a bond. I'm talking about people that are strictly in something that's transactional, that no longer serves you. But what we do is that we continue to stick around and mourn. You're mourning the death of a relationship while you're in it, and you stick around too long, which then prevents you from being able to get to the real thing that you're supposed to be with. When it comes to this political process and the Democratic plantation, some slaves was left behind. Everybody didn't get to the Underground Railroad. Everybody couldn't envision what freedom looked like. Everybody couldn't get to Detroit. Everybody couldn't run up north. Some people stayed there and got their backs whipped in, and they said, thank you, I appreciate you for beating my back in, because that is the best thing that ever happened to me, massa. And they fought evolution. They fought revolution. They fought change. And you're going to have to make the decision. You are at a crossroads in your life. If you are watching this right now, whether you're restreaming it or you're watching it live, you are in a crossroads in your life where you're going to have to make a difficult decision. But see, the word of God says, my brother and my sister, my mother and my auntie, the people that are my family are not necessarily the people that I was born with, but it's the people that's going in that direction with me. When he was sitting up there with the apostles and he was talking to them and they said, hey man, your mother is knocking at the door. He said, who is my mother and my father? Y'all my people. Let them wait. Because your tribe is the people that are going in the direction that you're going. And then again, it doesn't absolve you from having respect. It doesn't absolve you from being nice. It doesn't mean that you can't be respectful and nice and also appreciative of the time that y'all had together. But you're going to have to understand that your vision and your purpose in your life as ordained by God is telling you to go in that direction. And everybody is not meant to go, but it is for you. And I see people all the time and they say stuff like, Anton, well, everybody can't be a millionaire. Well, that's not for you. It's me. That's my purpose to be a millionaire, not you. It's my purpose to be free, not yours. It's my purpose to employ people, not yours. It's my purpose to go and kick it with the people out here in the streets and educate them and open them up and then allow for them to make the decision for themselves, because you cannot change anybody's heart. That is God to reveal himself to them, but he's using you as a vessel in order to remove all of the excuses so that they can do what they're supposed to do or pay the price for making a decision otherwise. And everybody can't go. Everybody can't be, that's you 100% right. Everybody can't be rich, but I can. I can. Everybody can't have a perfect life when it comes to your household and the people that serve you and a great tribe and all of that, but I can. And I make the decision every single day. And I do a inventory check of the people that are around me, and I make sure that they either rolling in the direction that I'm going in, or we have to part ways amicably because we going in two different directions. There's people that's been following me for a while. They know my history. People that see me on other panels and other shows and stuff, they know my history. There's been people in shows and business partners that we just don't see eye to eye anymore. And because they didn't see the vision that I wanted to execute for them, I took my vision and I executed on Monday nights. I took my vision and I executed on the Millionaire Morning Show. I take my vision and I executed on the Anton Daniels channel. I took my vision and I found my team. I found my tribe. I found people that organically is going in the direction that I'm going in. And I found my Mika and I found my Q and I found my Carrie and I found my Molly, right? And I found my Quentin and I found my Slimmy. And I found my editors and I found the people that surround me, that support me behind the scenes, that don't even want the visibility, but they want to pour into me. And so they're going to be the beneficiary of all of this stuff that we build. And I found you guys. I found your car. I found Azriel, right? I found Artifacts. I found all of these people that is going in the direction that I'm going in. And guess what? Everything that I gave up, everything that I walked away from, I had to walk away from my family. I had to walk away from this person. I had to walk away from the hood. I had to walk away from the Democratic plantation. God has multiplied it for me and gave it to me 10 times over. Everything that I gave up, he gave it back to me tenfold. Everything that I gave up, he gave it back to me tenfold. Everything that I left behind, he gave it to me times 10. It was not for nothing. It was for a purpose. But then seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. It's not for you to question. It's for you to execute on. You have a vision for your life, and your vision may not be a woman. It may not necessarily be the hood. It may not be this. It may not be that. But your vision, and that's why you have to go before God, learn your word, and then get consecrated and ultimately make a decision that's best for you. But your vision is for you. And obedience is better than sacrifice. So what you think you wouldn't be giving up in order to get it, you actually execute with your obedience, and you're rewarded accordingly for it. It's not that you're chasing the money. Being a bag chaser and a Patreon member is not even about money. We understand that the money comes along with the studying, right? Y'all keep talking about faith, but you never talk about the works, because faith without works is dead. You're going to have to make the adjustment and go into your purpose. Your purpose is not a person. The person is along with you for the ride, and ultimately they are to serve, and then we both benefit as a result of the relationship. But if it's not conducive for your life, what are you doing? You're not going to drag your family to the promised land. Your family has hardened their heart. Your mama don't care about what it is that you present to her as facts. They don't care if these people are advocating for the alphabet community. They don't care whether or not these people are out here killing babies. They don't care how much they are part of the establishment. They don't care how much they are warmongers. They don't care that these people are letting these people infiltrate your cities, your states, and your country with people that are not even supposed to be here and paying them your tax dollars to do so. They don't care. The only thing they care about is what they thought that they knew, and they don't want to let it go because it's too scary for them to step outside of their comfort zone and see something new. They are stuck on the plantation, and we have to leave them behind. And sometimes they can see you walking away and they can see your glory, or they'll see what you've developed into and they say, I want that too. So your life has to be an example. It's not about what you say. What you say is the cherry on top. What you do is the thing that then translates into people's lives, because nobody wants to hear from a loser. And so it's not about what you do. It's about what you say when you saying it to the people that don't want to hear it. But when you actually do, it's a completely different transformation, and you start to affect lives and you change people. And you run into people. And I ran into a guy named Anton yesterday, and he said, man, you know how I remembered you? Because our name was the same, but you changed my life. And now I'm a better man. I'm a better husband. Now I'm getting to the bag and I'm making better decisions. I'll never go back to the thing that I used to do, because you showed me through your works that you can do things differently and get different results. So the question that I then ask you guys, as we do these shows, as I give you the information, as we do our Monday nights and all of this stuff, and as you continue to watch me, because I've always said that my life is an open book, and so I want you to see exactly how it evolves. And you watching me in real time every single day. We look like we being entertained, but at the same time, you're watching a real life person go through life and show you with an open book an example of what it is that you're supposed to evolve past. There's going to be some ups. There's going to be some downs. There's going to be some people that don't like you. There's going to be some people that snake you. You're going to go into a business relationship. You're going to start a podcast over here. They're going to not want to pay you. They're going to not want to share what it is that we agreed upon in the first place. And so you're going to leave them behind. They're going to have 120 people in their live streams when I used to bring 3,000 people to them. And then you're going to go and start a completely new thing, and you're going to have 7,000 people in there, and they're going to be watching like this. Dang, I should have listened to them. Got to leave them behind. You got to leave them behind. It don't sound right, but it is. You can't pour out of an empty cup. You got to first get yourself together before you can start pouring into other people. You can't pour out of an empty cup. You got to be selfish before you can be selfless. Stop trying to save them. Be an example to them. The best thing you can be for me, and people ask me all the time, Anton, what can I do for you? Best thing you can do for me is get yourself together, because I can't use you if you ain't nothing worth having around. I don't need no anchors. I need people that's wrong with me. At some point, you're going to have to wake up and find your tribe. And when you see it, and when you catch it, and when you get that lightning in a bottle, and you see somebody that inspires you, that's actually going in the direction that you're going into, you hold on. You hold on for dear life, and you never let it go. You don't let it go. You hold on and you leave that thing behind. Some people ain't meant to go. Everybody can't go. Everybody can't go. It's not for them. That's not their purpose. They was there for a season, and that season is over, and we going into a new season. All right? If you ever needed confirmation, if you ever looking for a witness, if you prayed to God or you asked God to show you something, show you what your life need to be, give me a sign, give me a message, give me something that inspires me to actually push forward, that motivates me to be something that I've never been before, so that I can go in places that I've never been. This is it. This is it. This is for you. This message is for you. I'm telling you right now that you need to evolve past the place that you're in, and you're not meant to be there for the next 30 years only to die. You are meant for greater things. Your life is meant for greater things. You are not supposed to just be a follower or a hanger-oner. You are supposed to evolve past the place that you in to get to another space. I don't know what that is, because everybody got their own individual journey. But what I am telling you is that you need to continue to grow and stop letting these people keep you in the hood. Stop letting these people keep you as a part of the Democratic plantation. Stop letting these people hold you down. Stop letting these people tell you you're just supposed to work there for 30 years. Stop letting these people tell you that you're only supposed to do this, do that. But you know you meant for greater. You know you meant for greater. Leave it all on the flow. Live every single day like it's your last. Leave it out on the flow. Live life with no regrets. You hear me? All right. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then let's get into the show. Let's get to it. Dylan KO says, keep preaching, never stop. Shout out to you, big dog. All right. Justin B says, met a woman at 18. We're 25 now. Asked, who am I voting for? I said, I can't I'm a felon. She asked, well, who would you if you could? I said Trump. She hung up and blocked me so fast. Good. The quicker that you get the people out of your life that's not going in the direction that you're going in, the more conducive it's going to be for you. P. Shank, that's a blessing. P. Shank says that means you ain't got to waste another day. P. Shank says, morning, Mr. Anton. What's up, P. Shank? Eric Wealth in the building says, you can change all you want, AD. Q says she's going to get more Kamala supporters on the show next week. I want to see Hoodie Time, great speech. I ain't worried about it. I'm going to do what I do. Miss Salat says, this is a huge lesson I had to learn. All I got to say is book your coaching calls. Oh, that's about to end. I can tell you right now, that's about to end. Anybody that ain't got a, well, we'll get to that. Haven Project X says, Anton, good show last night. Saw some of those panelists show us who they really are. Stay strong and aware. Stay alert, King. Remember, Lot's wife, she had to be left behind. Well, she turned into a pillar of salt. So, yeah, man. Yeah. N8-Bit says, visualize the action and actualize the vision. Just work. April, what up, April? Preach. What up, April? What up, A? DJ Kane says, I got to be honest, hearing Anton talk about God, lifestyle, and business be more beneficial than modern Sunday services. Oh, they can't teach you nothing over there. I'll preach your local preacher under the table. Fact says, my dad is far more conservative than I am in his lifestyle, but cannot give up his loyalty to that party. You got to evolve. What up, Molly? What up, Molly? Was over there working last night. Molly carried the show on times that I was like, whoa. Let me sit back and just let me go get my hat. Good morning, AD. You preaching real good. God bless. Manifest Love says, love your gift because this may be the only church that some may hear. He that has ears, let him hear. Church is not a building. Church, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. What up? What up, Ray Sean? What up? Shout out to Inside the Path is Clear. When you have somebody leading by example, you will know them by their fruits. Philip Sadiq says, starting off the morning right. What up, Philip? I appreciate you, bro. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Y'all ready to get it popping with the show? Yeah. All right. Well, guess what? Kamala Harris appeared on Shannon Sharpe. Now, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I believe that this was a response to to Joe Rogan. I believe Kamala Harris going on Shay Shay was her Joe Rogan moment because there's no way in hell that she's ever going to appear for a 3-hour conversation with Joe Rogan like Trump did. But at the same time, she's a Me Tooer. She's a copycat. So she always says, okay, well, what did Trump do today? I believe that in the Kamala Harris campaign, what they say is, what did Trump do today that we can then mimic and piggyback off of in order to try to get some traction and try to do a counteraction to what he is. And so Trump went on Joe Rogan, Kamala goes on Club Shay Shay. And I don't think that it had the intended effect because that Joe Rogan interview went haywire. It went absolutely viral more than anything that I've seen recently. And so I think that they thought that they was going to have like another Cat Williams moment. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe because, you know, he doing his thing and he's doing his thing as a podcaster. I see he changed his uniform for this particular show, but it just don't feel the same. It don't hit the same. It's like a Me Too movement. Anyways, in this particular clip, she talks about, or Shannon Sharpe asks her about, pandering to black people. Let's deep dive into it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Patreon. We got Stock Club coming up right after we do the show this weekend. And then Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. And then get your tickets to come and kick it with me in Atlanta this weekend. And then Detroit on December 14th. And then we're going to announce future dates all through 2025. Let's get to it.
Like when other candidates go on shows and they say they're going to do this, they're not pandering. They're telling you, laying out their elaborate plan on what they're going to do. But it seems to you when you promise that if I'm president, this is what I'm going to do in the first 90 days. This is what I'm going to do. My administration's going to do while I'm in office. You're pandering. How do you get through to those that says, look, this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. If I'm elected president, these are the policies and they will lead to meaningful and impactful change?
Well, part of it is...
I think that's a great question. I think he framed it great. I think that that's a great question. We got to give Shannon Sharpe his flowers. Let's see what he got to say.
Is just to be candid, I think that there's sadly a misinformation out there about who I am and what I've done, because if people are informed about fact, they will know that almost everything that I'm talking about doing as president is built on a foundation of work that I've been doing for years. If it is about economic empowerment of the
Wait a minute. Before we get to this, let me see something. Them same jeans that I had on. Oh, for those of y'all that's not subscribed to After Hours, you may not be familiar with this story, but I did go and get some new jeans some months ago. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my Levi's. I'm going to get a different set of Levi's. I went and got some boot cut jeans. It didn't work out that well. I bought a bunch of them joints too. I spent like $1,000 in jeans from Levi's. You know, Levi's, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Them is the same jeans. The same jeans that Kamala Harris had on, the same ones that Barack Obama had on, and the same jeans that I had on. All right, I don't want to get y'all distracted. We got to get into the root of this. Let's deep dive.
doing for years. If it is about economic empowerment of the Black community and all communities, I've been working on that. As vice president, I am responsible for billions of dollars from big banks and big corporations, including technology companies, getting into community banks to increase access to capital for minority-owned and other small businesses. If you look at my work over a period of years, my focus again on something like maternal mortality is long-standing, which directly impacts Black men and Black women.
Right.
And the Black family. If you look at the work that I am doing that is about small businesses, you know, the person who helped my mother raise us, who was a second mother to us, was a small business owner.
Oh, here we go with this. I thought she was going to actually give us an answer filled with substance. My second mother that raised us was a small business owner. How many times have we heard this story, Chad? Honestly, because I haven't watched the interview yet, and so I'm reviewing this in real time with you guys. I'm reacting to it in real time. My question is, how many times are we going to hear about the daycare small business owner, mother, worked until she was able to buy a home when she was a teenager? I love my small business owners and their lawns. Come on, man. Come on. Give me something different.
Have always focused for such a long time on what we need to do, knowing that our small businesses are part of the culture of our communities, right? Including the economic fabric and strength of the community. So what I'm talking about doing right now is based on longstanding work. It's not new. But as President of the United States, part of why it is important is it is a new approach to that job. It is about a new way that is based on a new generation of leadership, that is based on new ideas, and frankly, a different experience that brings my commitment to the work I am talking about into being.
Listen, unfortunately, I've gone viral with Dr. insurance you will allow in order for Black wait sooner with GLP-1s through Roe. Can you give us a breakdown of how you will allow Blacks and other minorities to access capital? Because you speak a lot about capital, and in order for people to become successful and have some wealth, is that they need to have access to that to get started.
So that's in fact why I did, starting earlier this year, my economic opportunity tour, way before I was running for president, because I realized that so many of our entrepreneurs don't actually have that we need to do better in getting information to people about what's available to them. So for example, through the Small Business Administration, there are funds available to help people create a business plan. There is resources available to help people just know how that you need to run a payroll, how you need to pay business taxes. Part of my plan, by the way, is to simplify taxes for small businesses. I like to say it's basically, I'm going to date myself, like, you remember the 1040E? Did you ever have to do a 1040E? Probably never.
No.
Okay, I did.
Did you ever have to do a 1040 easy? Really? And you know, this kind of reminds me of when you're in corporate America. When you get into the tech world, or you get into certain levels in corporate America, and whatever your respective field is, they talk real fast and they say all of these little terms. And that's why I kind of, even in Stock Club or in Block Club, I take the time out to start to break down exactly what certain things mean. And then when people are on that live stream or they restream the live stream, they'll be like, oh, that's all it means? Yeah, that's all it means. Small Business Association, 1040 EZ. Okay, so you file taxes. She said, did you ever do a 1040 EZ? So is that her method of trying to appeal to regular people? Like, oh, I'm just a regular person, just like you. Did you ever do a 1040 EZ? I did the 1040 EZ. It's a 1040 EZ, family. It's a 1040 EZ. It's not like extra. It's a 1040.
But, simplifying tax returns for people, including our small businesses. But the work that I have done and will continue to do is about knowing that we don't lack for hard work, we don't lack for good ideas, but we do lack for information about the help that is available.
Go James and the Lakers are back putting on a show.
Shannon
and
Sharp
you know
is
I
getting
got
all
to
of
get
this
it
money,
down,
ain't he?
including at the Ticket Means Bad Geek.
It is going to be about increasing access to capital. Part of it is about putting more money. So I called up and got in touch with and worked with some of the big CEOs of the biggest corporations in America and said, and the big banks, that you all don't necessarily, you're not there in the community where you can get a $100,000 loan to a small business. You guys deal at a different level. But those $100,000 loans for a startup will go a long way. Let's get those billions of dollars that you've got, put them into community banks who are in the community, who know what the community needs, what they want, what the consumers there want, and then support those small businesses. So that's my approach.
So let me help you to understand how it works, okay? So what she's proposing, and I'm not even criticizing her, I'm giving y'all a little bit more insight so y'all can understand exactly how it works on a banking level and what community banking really means, okay? Because we use these terms again and we throw them around. Her answer is her answer, whatever that is, okay? We throw these terms around and we use them, but we don't really understand them, right? So on a banking level, banks make money one of maybe like 5 or 6 different ways, okay? The first way that they make money is off the fees. The second way and the fees can range in a lot of different ways. The fees can range based off of you refinancing a loan, taking a HELOC out, pulling equity out of the loan. The fees that's associated with whatever it is that you do, the banks make money from it. The second way and different banks make money different ways, right? Because all of them are in banking, but different banks operate separately. So some banks may be more or less projecting themselves to be credit cards. So you may see the Visa, the MasterCards or whatever. Other banks are operating as mortgage servicers, and so they may make money that way. So different banks make money different ways. Some banks make money off of wealth management, right? Some banks are more or less servicing your 401k, so you can see the Vanguard and all of that other type of stuff, right? You'll see the Fidelities and the Charles Schwabs, right? There's different types of bank that specialize in different things, but they really make money one of a multitude of different ways. The fees. The fees can come off of wealth management. It can come off of, doing whatever it is that they do to refinance your loan or whatever it is that you take loans out, so on and so forth. The second way and the main way that they make money is off of giving money out to people. And they give money out in a multitude of different ways. If they give it to you on a credit card, then you're going to pay 16 to 24% interest. If they give money out to you as far as a home loan, and they're going to make that money on the front end, especially if it's a 30-year mortgage off the 30 years, then they're going to incentivize you to refinance so that they not only keep you inside of the banking system, but that they continue to make interest off of loaning you money. So you put your money in the bank as a deposit, exponentially it multiplies because they then loan that money out to people in a multitude of different ways. The risk that the bank takes is they have to be careful of who they loan the money to, because if you are a risk and they're not loaning against anything from a collateral perspective, then that's where they take their loss at. So if they loan you money, for example, on a house, or let's just say you want to refinance your house, and you want to take the equity out of your house to reinvest in something or do some kind of, updates to the house, or you want to take a vacation, or you want to go and buy another house, right? They using the house that you have as collateral to loan against, so they're taking less of a risk. Because if you don't pay the mortgage, they'll just foreclose on the house and then they'll take the house and they still got their money back. They take some losses, they take some write-offs, but in general, it's less risky to the banks. If you go and buy a car, it's a little bit more risky, but they're taking into consideration what your credit score is and how much more likely you are to pay it back. If you're a higher risk, then they charge more interest to make more money on the front end, anticipating the possibility or a greater risk of you then getting your car repossessed, because The car is a depreciating asset, whereas the house is an appreciating asset, right? And so when they take more of a risk on the car, it's way more risky because they're more likely to lose money even if they repossess it, because the resale value of the car is not the same as the resale value of the house. You see what I'm saying? So now let's bring it all the way back to small businesses. Small business loans are the riskiest of them all, because we know statistically that you are much more likely to fail than succeed as a small business owner. And then on top of it, they have nothing to use as collateral in order to make sure that they get their money back in the event that you then go bankrupt or your business is not successful. They cannot define what success looks like for you, but ultimately what they're trying to do is make money. The bank's job is to make money off the interest. The bank's job is to make money off the servicing. The servicing is when you go on and you pay your bills, right? And you log into the bank or you log into your website, and then it may be reskinned to say whatever your bank is. But on the back end, you'll have a much, much bigger bank servicing that. So when you go and pay your bills, the processing, the transaction times, the technology that goes into the applications and all of that, that is the servicing. So during the pandemic, for example, much, much bigger banks are the servicers of the loans, even though your mortgage originated there and you think you're going online to pay it under that name, is really being serviced by a much larger person or a much larger bank that then takes fees off of whatever it is, or per loan, per month, or whatever the servicing fee is. So when everybody was going through the rent moratorium, there was more calls into it. The bigger banks that was doing the servicing that could stand up certain products. How do I know? Because this is what I do for a living. This is the thing that I do. I build the products that ultimately make banks money and then simplify the process in order to make sure that they streamline it and they can generate more revenue. That's how I know so much about money. That's how I know so much about banks. That's how I know so much about the community. That's how I know about, because I have to sit down with the experts of their field that's out there trying to figure out whether or not they can give you money. I have to sit down and look at the algorithms or whatever it is that they're using as the criteria to justify whether or not they can give you a loan. I have to look at the statistics and say, okay, this is where the environment where it's not conducive for them to loan out money, so it's much more risky, so they're going to require much more collateral, or they're going to want something from you, or they're going to want a history that's associated with it, or they're going to want to see you grow into it, right? And so my point is that when she says larger banks go and give the money into the community banks, it's a white lie. It's a truth, and it's not so truthful. Because even when it comes to loaning money, a lot of times, I'll give you an example. When Elon Musk bought Twitter and then turned it into X, he didn't take out all of the money. He had to sell a certain part of his portfolio and pay taxes on it. And I don't know if y'all remember that, but he had to sell because of the requirements that was associated with what his shares came with, right, in Tesla. And so what happened was he leveraged that in order to then buy Twitter. He could have bought it outright, but he would have had to pay more taxes and getting his unrealized gains realized. And so what he did was he took that money and he bought Twitter, but he also financed it. And what a lot of these banks do is they partner with other banks in order to get a bigger deal done, and it leaves them less exposed to risk. So let's just say, for example, you got a Chase Bank, you got a Bank of America, and you got a U.S. Bank. You got 3 banks, right? Now, Chase Bank is the biggest, so Chase may take on, because they feel comfortable with Elon Musk and he has a lot of collateral and the fact that he owns a bunch of Tesla and he's a billionaire and all of this stuff, they may feel comfortable with financing 25%. Elon Musk put up his 50%. They'll take on another 25%. And then let's say these other 2 banks, right? So they'll give their billions. And then these other 2 banks don't want as much exposure because they don't want that amount of money that's into that particular thing, because that's a large part of their portfolio. So those other 2 banks will then split it up. U.S. Bank may take 10%. Bank of America may take another 10%. And then you may have this 5% that's left split up amongst other smaller banks that also is financing and participating in this thing. Even when you do large mortgages, if you do huge mortgages for these houses, right? And you got these Diddy houses that's 10, 15, 20, 25, $50 million. Often at times, they have multiple different banks participating and loaning out. So when they say they are partnering with the community banks that understand the people, it's a talking point, but it's some truth in it, but it doesn't really hit you as a person, as a consumer. You don't really understand the requirements for it. It's not free money that's given to you. You still have to meet certain exceptions and criteria And most people, especially black people that are in these communities that say that they want these loans, they do not qualify. Let me say it again. They do not qualify for the thing that they are proposing as a policy that is going to benefit you as a community member. So you can go over there and you can say, yeah, she's doing this policy and she's saying this all. How many of y'all, here's the question that you got to ask yourself. How many of y'all actually know anybody? And it's thousands of people in here. How many people do y'all know? Any of y'all actually know anybody that benefited from the things that she's talking about as far as these community banks partnering with small business owners in order to give them funding in order to get their stuff off the ground? You might have to rewind this and rewatch it again because I'm giving y'all a game for free. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. This is what we do. This is what we talk about. I'm giving you the game for free. Anybody can sit there and talk about it. Anybody can give you talking points. Anybody can say what it is that they think. Very few people is in the room to actually understand, pick the minds of, watch the deals go down, and then be able to UX it, user experience it in order to translate it into an actual product that the people use on a daily basis. How many of y'all actually know anybody that has ever benefited from what she's talking about as far as these big banks actually funding, partnering with the community banks in order to get funds out to the people that start businesses? So then, because I see people sitting here talking about the fact that they don't know anybody, I'm looking in the chat right now. So if I'm going to bring it back to you, and this is the point that I'm making. I know I did a lot of talking and I gave you all a lot of information, but it all comes back down to one point. How is this helping you in the community? If it's for you, but you have no insight, no information, and you don't know anybody that has benefited from it, but this is her history that she's standing on, how is it benefiting the community if you have no insight, no information, and you don't even know anybody that's ever benefited from it? Think about what I'm saying right now. Listen, talking points are cute. Proposals sound great. How many of you guys actually know somebody that has benefited from any of this stuff that she's talking about? That's my point. That's my point. And I'm going to just tell you, most of these people don't even need no small business. You know what they need? A good job. Because if you got a good, listen, let's break it all the way down and simplify it. If you got a good job and you're actually making the adjustments to your lifestyle, guess what you can do? You have more equity in your business. You're going to put your own money up. You don't owe anybody nothing, so you don't have to pay to nobody. And you're able to invest in your small business, grow it organically, and not owe anybody. And the only time that I suggest people to get loans for a small business is when they expand in an already good product. I never tell people to take out a loan and start a small business. Never. You're going to find yourself in a bad situation. I tell people that the only time that you need capital is if you are growing rapidly and you need to expand, which means that you already have a proven product. You just need to be able to capitalize off of the fact that you don't have the capital expanding the business. It's a proven concept. It's great. We need to expand the business and we need to be more liquid to carry more product. We running it up. That's the only time that you need to take out a loan. People need good jobs. They need good revenue. They need the opportunity to really be able to run up the bag. It's not about businesses. Most small businesses fail. And I can teach you how most businesses only take $2,000 to $5,000 in order to proof out a concept to make sure that it's actually good. Even if you start in a restaurant, you don't need to start a full restaurant. You can literally, well, I'm not going to give you that type of game. But my point is, people need high and good paying jobs. They need stability in order to make sure that they can then invest in their dreams. And then you leverage the stats, right? You can then go into the bank and say, this is what my business is doing. This is the revenue. I want to start a relationship with you guys. You guys see what's coming in and going out of my bank account. This is what we projected to do. This is what my business plan is as far as expanding it. We need more revenue and we need more capital. We need you to partner with us. That's how you go into a bank. You don't go into a bank and say, hey, man, I got this business plan. Can you give me some money for my small business? You need income. You need to grow organically. And then you can start to use your data and your statistics and then your bank accounts that you have already with them to go in and say, listen, this is the revenue that we're generating. This is where it's coming from. These are our customers. This is our vision for expanding in the future. But we don't have the revenue and the capital to be able to expand, but it's going to generate a lot of revenue and we love to partner with you in order to make more money. That's how you approach a bank in order to generate revenue and get what you need in order to expand your business. But you're not even at step one. You're not even at the fundamentals. You know why she can't speak like this? Because she's never actually been in the private sector and every paycheck that she's ever gotten has come from taxpayers. So it's difficult for somebody like this to talk about it, but it's not difficult for somebody like Trump because he does it on a huge level. That's the difference. Some people got an idea and some people actually get results. Let's hear the rest of what she got. I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent. You know me. Let's hear the rest of what she got to say.
Approach to access to capital, including making sure that people have, again, simplifying taxes for small businesses. You know why, Shannon? Small businesses can't afford to hire a bunch of accountants.
Yeah, they can't help.
And a bunch of lawyers. But that shouldn't be the reason they fail because they didn't fill out the form properly.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So my approach is really understanding the culture, understanding the needs, and then trying to fix problems. I love fixing problems with common sense solutions. And again, look, Donald Trump has never,
How did I know that? I thought she was going to talk about herself. I was about to give her some credit. I was literally about to give her some credit. Honest to God, on everything in me. I was going to say, you know what? I'm glad that she's talking about it. I'm glad that she's trying to make sense of this thing because, I'm going to give her some credit about the fact she's speaking about what she's on and she's speaking coherently and it seems like she's not trying to fumble for the answers. I was going to give her some credit. But every single time, when I seen Trump on Bloomberg talking about tariffs and small businesses and the auto industry and the steel industry and so on and so forth, I didn't see him talking about Kamala Harris. They can't help themselves. I was seriously about to say, you know what? I can appreciate her for standing on what she thinks is going to make sense as far as a policy for people that's looking to get some insight into how she's going to affect small businesses in America. But every single time, they got to mention Trump. I don't understand it. Push you. You're giving him free advertisement. And I want Trump to win. But don't you realize that you're giving him free? I wasn't even thinking about going into Trump's economy plan and what he talked about Bloomberg. I wasn't even going to mention it. Why can't you promote you? You promoting them. You're promoting them. Do you know that I purposely do certain things from a content creator's perspective in order to get people to react to me, even if it's negative? Because I know that them mentioning me to their audience and to people that may not be familiar with them is going to cause for them to go and research who I am. And then once I get into their algorithm, they're going to come over to my side and they're going to stop watching them. The more that you mention me, the more that I'm going to succeed and profit, even if it's negatively, because I know that even if you're a hate watcher and a person that loves me, the watch time, it translates the same financially. It translates the same. Whether you hate, if I see myself too cold in the streets, I might do something or say something that's a little controversial in order to get the buzz popping. Because I know that you can't help it because you want me to fail so bad, you're going to do a reaction video to it, and now my name is back in your algorithm. So now you mentioning me and putting my name in your title, it just gives me more and more and more boost and more and more. Then I become Godzilla, absorbing all of the energy that you think is going to kill me. You threw a nuclear bomb on me, but it just made me more powerful. So dumb. Just push you. It's you. It's your campaign. You just push you.
never going to relate necessarily to the kind of folks that I'm talking about who on the ground just need to be seen and heard, and then let's fix the problems. Let's address the challenges to let them not just get by, but get ahead. And I want to put a fine point on this. Maybe it's a new perspective. I think it is. I believe that we have had great success in bringing black unemployment down to historic lows.
Yes. You believe it or you did? That's something that we can use from a data. Let me rewind what she said.
Maybe it's a new perspective. I think it is. I believe that we have had great success in bringing black unemployment down to historic lows.
Yeah. So either you did or you didn't.
But for me, that's a floor. For me, that's a floor. Because what I know is that it should be baseline that everybody's working. That's not enough. People want to build wealth.
Yes.
And intergenerational wealth.
Correct.
And I want to help people do that, right? Mm-hmm. I know what folks want to be able to take a nice vacation from time to time, have nice Christmas gifts for their kids under the tree. And it can't just be about, well, you got a job, applaud me for what I've done for you.
Right.
And that's the spirit with which I do my work.
Go James and the Lakers are back putting on a show. And you know I got to get the best deal on
Shannon
tickets.
is
That's
getting
why I
all
need
of
to
the
tell
money,
you about
ain't
my sponsor. I play with micro money. We know that defunding the Department of Education.
Yes.
Basically, we know that's going to affect communities like us that don't have the resources. And then because he says he doesn't, if they talked about slavery, which is a part of our history, it's
that they're trying to cover up.
Yes.
That they're trying to cover up.
They talk about racism. And he said, well, what we would do if they talked about it, they wouldn't get funding. And we know what communities are going to be most impacted by non-funding.
And understand that they want to get rid of the Department of Education and get rid of Head Start.
Jesus
you know
Christ.
Whose kids are in Head Start? They want to, it is, and to your point, and I'm so glad you pointed this out, you know, these are the same people who basically suggested that enslaved people benefited from slavery. The same people who are trying to ban and are banning books. Mm-hmm. And again, if we don't teach America's full history, we will never ensure that we don't make the same.
Yes.
The Department of Education didn't even become a standalone agency until 1980. The problem that Trump is addressing is, number one, he's saying that the states is similar to reproductive rights. He's saying that the states should be able to decide what happens within their education system, but the funding does not go away. The department itself should not be mandating policies that certain books be read inside of our schools, and then parents that are revolting against it are rejecting the idea that we want to have these gender affirmations and these same laws and these policies that's similar to what's happening over in California be translated through the education system in order to indoctrinate our kids with stuff that we don't want a part of it. And so the funding of it is not being abolished. The whole idea that they're leveraging the Department of Education in order to try to trans your kids into doing something that they're not supposed to do, and then justifying funding it as a result of it through your taxpayer dollars is what they're having a conversation about. And then they start to use extreme versions of Project 2025 and say, listen, man, look, bro. Look. Wake up, y'all. Do your research. Learn about what's actually being communicated and stop listening to just what talking points are, because it does not help you to not understand and get the context behind what's being communicated.
To do those same things again.
Let's learn from that painful part of our history to make sure we don't repeat it, but not by not covering it up. Let's have an open and honest conversation about it. It happened.
And the effects of it.
Yes.
And the present day effects of it.
Mm-hmm. I think we both agree. I think we can all agree on this, that there is a problem.
I'll share something with you, for example. I want y'all to see this, and then we're going to move over to the next thing. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a real good one. And this is why the Department of Education is under fire, because a lot of people are not familiar with what's being promoted. And so they'll use this blanket statement in order to say, well, the Department of Education, okay? Let's go into it, for example. So Give me a second. More recently, the Biden administration issued rules that provide greater and more explicit protections for alphabet community students, that rules that Republican-led states have blocked. They're separating people in order to try to push these agendas through your children and then trying to justify doing it through the Department of Education itself. I don't know how much more insight that y'all need. I don't know how much more education and how much research y'all need to be doing, but y'all need to be doing your own research to better understand what's being pushed and promoted and not just using talking points that these liberals use in order to justify keeping somebody in office that shouldn't be there.
I don't know how the correct term. I think it's undocumented. How do we get a hold on that, Madam VP? How do we make sure? Because I think I've heard you say you want a path to citizenship, but we want to, make sure people come in and do things properly.
Yes, that's exactly right. So first of all, I have personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
Oh, God.
For the trafficking of guns.
All right, we heard this pitch before. All right, so make sure y'all hit a like for that. We're going to go into the next thing. Make sure y'all get a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to go into the next thing. I appreciate y'all. Diamato Cooper says, absolutely, you will know them by the fruit. You're bearing much fruit. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Sue Me Later in the building says, Monday, Ava versus Jamisha. We need it. Ava will absolutely wash Jamisha. For the best morning show, shout out to Miss Crochet Shetty. I appreciate you for the super chat. High Tolerance says this was a failed response. We saw what we saw. At least I saw what I needed to see before I doze off 20 minutes in. Sportsaholic is in the building and says Shannon's comment section was entertaining and anything but lame. I tuned in for an interview, but I got a softball game. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Masked Man says, here's what happened. Kamala was supposed to do Shay weeks ago, but Shay's audio came out and she canceled. Also, this interview was released yesterday, but filmed 13 days ago. Oh, I didn't know that. We're going to talk about that on After Hours. New Movement says she looks like the farmer from Men in Black after the alien cockroach stole. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. Virgil Walker says, are you hearing a bit of black speak? Relaxing her words, do you think Shay Shay will call BS on her inauthenticity? Or will he toe the line? I hope to connect with you soon, bro. ATL. Shout out to everybody coming to the show in ATL. David Vernon Miles says, what up, AD? Just finished the replay from last night. Couldn't stop laughing. Molly was scoring and Ava won MVP. Trigger warning. And Honey Pack equal dumb and dumber. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Chef 673 says she lied. It was her and many other attorney generals working on big banks on it that was supported by Barack Obama when he was running for president in 2012, speaking at the DNC. At the same time, she was Barack's campaign manager. Oh, okay. So we starting to uncover some things. Not another Kamala word salad rerun. Captain Skidmark's great name says, off topic, but I know that I get rewarded with higher mortgage fees for having an 8 credit score. Remember that policy? Deshaun Rose goes on to say, let's not forget about the Corporate Transparency Act of 2024, vetoed by Trump but passed by Harris, criminalizing small business owners through the FinCEN financial laws. Trevor F. says, this is that 2021 Millionaire Short Morning Show, well, actually After Hours with Anton Daniels. Yeah. Mr. Jacksonville Jaguar says, hey, I'm going into trucking. Would it be better to own a truck or just use the company truck? Use the company truck. Use the company truck. Is AD low-key a Godzilla fan? No, I just watched the movie. I know the movies. I don't know. I watch it when I can on the plane. Cast my ballot early this Saturday, and at 47 years old, for the first time in my adult life, I voted red. Shout out to G Hood. Yeah. Eddie B says, AD, no doubt that Shannon Sharpe has a large following, but for somebody like him to do this interview at this time in the campaign, to literally not follow up on anything is criminally horrendous. Haven, Project X says, Kamala Harris keep bringing up Trump because she's a misandrist. She tries to hide it, but it keeps manifesting in her behavior. That's why she has a problem with getting the male vote. Men sense it. Well, we're going to talk about that in this next segment. High Tolerance says, AD, you should have kept them boot cuts and cropped some. Affliction shirts, a choker, and a few pair of square toes, and rocked out, mission complete. No, you trying to have me out here looking sassy. Keyshawn White says, you made that honey bitter last night. J614 says, how may I take your order, Kamala? I have prosecuted transnational criminals. The big dog Old Town says, please never invite Trigger back to a panel. That's not me. I don't pick the people. That is all Q. DJ Ace Production says, man, it was an Attack of the Gap band Monday last night. Big Steve says, if it was going to be a tough interview, she wouldn't have been there. Come on, guys. Mr. Joe says for the collection plate. Shout out to Mr. Joe. I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody that continues to support the platform. Let's get into it. So, she was caught on a hot mic, allegedly. Now, I'm just now finding it. I seen it yesterday. But I'm just now seeing or have an opportunity to be able to review it live in front of you guys. But they're saying that Kamala Harris was caught on a hot mic. A hot mic, all right? Meaning that she didn't know that the microphones were listening. And she was talking to Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. I'm not a big Gretch fan at all. But she's been campaigning in Michigan relentlessly, trying to win Michigan over as a swing state. And so they're saying that she said that she's having trouble getting ground and moving the ground among men. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
So this is happening now. You're looking at President Joe Biden. He is in line for early voting. Now, remember, Joe Biden thought his name would be on the ticket. It's not. Vice President Kamala Harris's is. And remember, Saturday in Pittsburgh, he said, Kamala and I have a lot of work to do. Oh, wait, Kamala does. So we wonder if he's adjusting to the development that happened in July, that he is, in fact, not on the ticket as he goes to cast his vote, presumably, for his vice president, Kamala Harris. Quite a moment to watch. Part of history, indeed. When we move on to this, there are reports that there's a little bit of dissension in the Biden-Kamala Harris campaign. The Biden White House making stops, the Kamala Harris campaign totally in the blind, according to sources. And this was all in Axios. And setting us up with that big new breaking report is Jackie Heinrich, who is live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Vice President Harris is campaigning today. Jackie.
Well, Kayleigh, President Biden reportedly wants to get out on the trail and help Harris in this final stretch, but the campaign keeps telling Biden, we'll get back to you, letting days that he has held open on his calendar come and go. According to Axios, Biden's team believes that the campaign is underestimating his appeal among working class voters, especially in the Rust Belt. But one person from the campaign side said he's a reminder of the last 4 years, not a new way forward. And yet, Harris is here in Michigan touting jobs that came out of investments under Biden, including the CHIPS Act and the Inflation Reduction Act. And the largest super PAC supporting her is warning she's got to shift her strategy away from attacking Trump's character. The New York Times obtained
I've said that a long time ago. People don't get it.
Emails from Future Forward and, quote, attacking Trump's fascism is not that persuasive, read one line in bold type in the email, which is known as a Doppler and sent on a regular basis. Trump is exhausted isn't working either, read another. But Harris does not seem eager to get into detailed policy discussions when she's pressed.
So you do support restrictions after viability?
I support Roe versus Wade being put back into law by Congress and to restore the fundamental right of women to make decisions about their own body. It is that basic.
But you know, there are restrictions. With Roe versus Wade, there were restrictions after viability.
We would not be debating this if Donald Trump had not hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Once again, not a yes or a no there. Harris was caught on a hot mic yesterday talking to Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She appeared to acknowledge that she's not doing well with men.
Yeah. Oh, we have microphones, and I was listening to everything. I didn't realize that. Okay. So, well,
You'll
now
bleep
you tell
my
us.
F words.
We just told all the family secrets.
Okay, so that's what everybody is making a big deal about. This is so fake. This is Gretchen Whitmer and Kamala Harris is so fake. These are two of the fakest women that I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, we got a high mic. I didn't even notice you guys was over there. SHIT. Is that supposed to like make her more endearing? Oh, she's a regular person. She curses.
So far, though, we have not seen a big shift in strategy. She's going to appear here with the singer Maggie Rogers tonight to rally.
So I went and found the original video of her coming in because I wanted to know how organic this is, right? That's my biggest thing with Kamala Harris is that we don't really know anything other than the fact that I was right about the fact that they pushed Biden out of the White House. She don't want to associate herself with him. Back in 2021, when I was reporting that they were having problems and trouble inside of the White House and that he didn't like her. They say over 92% of her staff actually quit and all of these things. Everybody said that I was off. Everybody is sitting there saying, well, Anton, no, that's not true. Anton, oh, man. Yes, my goal was to try to identify and see how organic this administration really is and whether or not she is who she's proposing herself to be. Let me see something. Give me a second. Oh, 90 million. All right, so this is back. Man, I don't even know if I want to play this video. Give me a second, because we got to go back for a minute. Let's see if this even works. Will this work? Jesus. Shout out to my ladies that's bringing drama. She probably in the White House snatching dreams. Oh no, you ain't gonna be talking to me like that. Jesus. This is back in 2021. Ah! Good God. This is all the way back in 2021. Lord have mercy. Talk about a throwback. This is 2021 that I was reporting on Kamala Harris in 2021. All right, so we back. Y'all might need to refresh. I don't know if my connection is working the way that it's supposed to, but we back now. All right. So let me show you what I was reporting back in 2021. All right. She probably in there turning her neck, snatching. There we go. The thing in the White House today, ladies and gentlemen, is that Kamala Harris absolutely faces more criticism because she's a woman. She's a woman. You guys told me the Vice President Kamala Harris faces more criticism because she's the first woman and first woman of color to hold the second highest office in the country. Right out the gate, we went straight into the Victim Olympics without even thinking twice. Right out the gate, we went straight into the Victim Olympics. Anyways, I don't want to go into this, but I've been reporting on Kamala Harris since way in 2021. But we back, and so let me see if I can actually, if my connection is...
Thank you. Hi, Governor. This is the Governor. Can I treat you to a beer? Made here in Kamala Zoo. What can I get for you? Okay.
This is so fake. This is so fake. This is so fake. So the governor of Michigan walks over to Kamala Harris and say, "Oh, can I treat you to a beer?" You see the camera people that's right there. You see the camera people that's right there. You see the cameras that's right here. They got microphones. I don't know if y'all have ever been to any of these events where these presidential people walk in. They have microphones like this the whole time. It almost looks like a reality show. It almost looks like a reality show. It's the way that they filming it, right? So when they say that they caught her on a hot mic saying, "Oh, we're having problems amongst men," No, that was very intentional.
She'll try that too. So you want to try the over on eclipse as well? All right. Hi guys, how are you? It's great. I think are we sitting? Do you want to? Yeah. Can we sit? All right. Let's go. We're not kicking anybody out, are we? No. Oh no. Aren't you kind of more of a wine person?
What are you having, Madam Vice President?
I am having what she's having.
Look at all of the camera people behind there that's literally filming and taking pictures of her the whole time.
And it's made right here in Kalamazoo, which many are calling Kamalazoo. Yeah.
Okay, she said that joke literally twice and it didn't work the first time.
Cheers. Okay, cheers. Great rally.
She did not sip that. She did not sip it even a little bit. Man, this is all fake. This is just like, this is nothing but a sketch comedy show.
Good. And I mean, it's and you know what I've taken the years? No. And just shouting them out. You know, people first time voters. Engines. Yeah. Showing up. And then last first time voters. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's, you know, as I'm trying to feel better on the ground, you know, it's that those 40,000 foot floor. I can't get at stuff. Yeah. Good. I would have right.
Now you see the little cord, you see the pole that's above the microphone that's all the way over to the upper right hand side. You see it? You see they have the thing right there like this? All right?
Why would I bother going for a reelect? Exactly. Exactly right. So I think it was just, and you and I know because we've been doing it, you feel. You have to when you like the intuitive feeling of it's not just obligatory. Right. It's not just like
I couldn't do this. I just couldn't do this.
They're so gorgeous.
We got the full mic, right?
You've been just out there. I know you've been. I know we've been really well. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I feel good about it. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I've been bugging your whole team. I'm like, okay, we gotta do this, and this. But everyone's trying to look at yeah. Oh, we have microphones in here. I was listening to everything. I didn't realize. Yeah. Oh, we have microphones in here. I was listening to everything. I didn't realize that. Okay. So, well, you'll now bleep my F words. We just told all the family secrets. Shit.
Why? And I'm supposed to report on this. This is why I like to do a little bit of deep diving and some research so that I can better understand what's going on. Why am I supposed to do this? And then they throw the intentional curse word out. Oh my God, we got it on. I didn't know. Did you guys listen? Did you guys hear all of that? Shit. So fake. So fake. So staged. So fake. So fed to the media. So all of that. This is so trash. This is why I don't mess with her, bro. And everybody keep telling me about how real she is and she just cares. And everything that I see about this woman is staged and fake. Everything I see about this woman is staged and it's fake. It's not authentic. It just is so weak. Come on, y'all. Y'all see this? Listen to this. Oh my God, we're both caught off.
I've been bugging your whole
Look at the cameras and stuff that's over there.
I'm like, okay, we gotta do this, and this. But everyone's trying to sit me Yeah. Oh, we have microphones and I'm just listening to everything. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So, well,
You'll
now
bleep
you tell
my
us.
F words.
We just told all the family secrets. Shit.
If I missed any super chats prior to me freezing up, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's my mistake. We got to keep it moving, man. Shout out to Rayshawn. Again, I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down. Off topic, can you show or say the website you used the other day to view the ballot in your state? Well, what state that y'all in? Let's just pick one. I didn't look up anything in particular. I just Googled it. I just put ballot, and let's say ballot in California 2024 presidential election. All right, so let's see if we can find it. All I did was Google it. I didn't look up anything in particular that was all that awesome. Let's see if I can find it again. Ballot in California. General election. Ballot propositions. Nope, I don't want to go to ballot propositions. I just typed in ballot California. Where's my ballot? Life cycle of the ballot. California election guide, maybe. Hold on, let me do this. Let me make it a little bit more. Voter guide. Election dates. I don't know. I'd have to go and find it again. I don't want to have to do it again here, but I'd have to go and re-find it to find out exactly what that was and what I was looking at. I don't know. I just Googled it. And so I just deep dive Googled enough to where I was actually able to go into, or maybe that's just my state in particular, but yes, Tone Antonio, I just Googled it. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Aaron L says, I think she has social anxiety and is petrified. No, I don't think she has social anxiety. If you look at any of them old videos of her partying, it wasn't nothing anxiety related to it. You know what I'm saying? All eyes on me. Thank you for holding me down. I appreciate you. Here, I'm going to leave the bell out for a minute. Donating just because they tried to stall the live. Also, Kamala is faking out presidential Trump 2024. Shout out to you. That's as real as Shannon Sharp's leak. Facts. Fake. Is it me? But every time AD throws his glasses down, I crack up. You know me. It is what it is. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, all right? Let's move on. So Jeff Bezos. I want to spend 10 minutes here talking about Bezos. So I reported to y'all yesterday that the Washington Post and the LA Times in particular, those two publications said that they were no longer going to endorse a president for the United States of America and that they were going to maintain their journalistic integrity and get back to the core of what it means to just report the news. Now, as a result, there's allegedly a bunch of subscriptions that has been canceled to the Washington Post as a result of it. And then also on top of that, people are quitting and they're saying they're outraged that they can't endorse Kamala Harris publicly as a Washington Post reporter, so on and so forth. Now, what you do on your own time and in your own spaces, that's on you. But you can't then leverage the job and the position that you have in order to endorse it just because that's what y'all always been doing. One of the things that people have always been complaining about is the fact that people have been getting involved and these publications are swayed and they've been getting involved in what's going on as far as influence in elections and so on and so forth. Maybe not as much anymore because nobody cares about newspapers, but I think that it's different when you actually have a billionaire that is owning the publication because you're not dependent on subscriptions in order to survive. He just wants to own the paper. But here's what's being said and the fallout from the Washington Post decision to end presidential endorsements.
Fallout continues after the Washington Post announced it would not endorse a candidate for president. At least two members
and
are...
This is coming from MSNBC, and then maybe we'll spin a block and get Fox News perspective because we want to get it on both sides.
Resigning from its editorial board, and the Post publisher defended the decision, saying the paper was returning to its roots of not making presidential endorsements. But according to reports, it was owner Jeff Bezos who made the call. And tonight, Bezos wrote an op-ed in the Post saying Americans don't trust the media and that presidential endorsements actually create a perception of bias. He says ending them is a principled decision. Bezos went on to write this, quote, "I wish we had made the change earlier than we did, in a moment further from the election and the emotions around it. That was inadequate planning and not some intentional strategy. I would also like to be clear that no quid pro quo of any kind is at work here." Earlier today, before...
Okay, wait a minute. So I want to know what Jeff Bezos said in his own words. I didn't even know that he actually had wrote an op-ed, but that would be great to read it ourselves. I don't need anybody to summarize it for us. We are readers. We can read it for ourselves inside of our own and form our own opinions of what's going on. All right. So they're saying that Jeff Bezos wrote an op-ed. Okay. Let me get that up on the screen really quickly, and then I'll share that with you guys. So this is Jeff Bezos, and he put it in the opinion section of the Washington Post, of the paper that he actually owns. He says, in the annual public surveys about trust and reputation, journalists and the media have regularly fallen near the very bottom, often just above Congress. But in this year's Gallup poll, we managed to fall below Congress. Our profession is now the least trusted at all. Something we are doing is clearly not working. He's basically saying that don't nobody trust these journalists and the media no more. They're saying that they don't even trust them. They trust them less than Congress. Let me give an analogy. Voting machines must meet two requirements. They must count the vote accurately, and people must believe that they count the vote accurately. The second requirement is distinct from the first, just as important as the first. Likewise, with newspapers, we must be accurate and we must, what is this? What is this? Is that an advertisement? Get that up out of here. Likewise, we must be accurate and we must be believed to be accurate. It is a bitter pill to swallow, but we are failing on the second requirement. Most people believe the media is biased. Anyone who doesn't see this as paying scant attention to reality, and those who fight reality lose. Reality is an undefeated champion. It would be easy to blame others for our long and continuing fall in credibility and therefore decline in impact. But a victim mentality will not help. Jesus Christ. Even Jeff Bezos is saying don't be victims. Complaining is not a strategy. We must work harder to control what we can control to increase our credibility. He goes on to say, presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election. No undecided voters in Pennsylvania is going to say, I'm going with newspaper A's endorsement. None. What presidential endorsements actually do is create a perception of bias, a perception of non-independence. Ending them is a principled decision, and it is the right one. Eugene Meyer, publisher of the Washington Post from 1933 to 1946, thought the same, and he was right. By itself, declining to endorse presidential candidates is not enough to move us very far up the trust scale, but it is a meaningful step in the right direction. I wish we had made the change earlier than we did, in a moment further from the election and the emotions around it. that was inadequate planning and not some intentional strategy. He basically saying that the newspaper dropped the ball, or the people that were running the newspaper. I would also like to be clear that no quid pro quo of any kind is at work here. Neither campaign nor candidate was consulted or informed at any level or in any way about this decision. It was made entirely internally. Dave Lemp, the chief executive of one of my companies, Blue Origin, met with former President Donald Trump on the day of our announcement. I sighed when I found out, but I knew that it would provide ammunition to those who would like to frame this as anything other than a principled decision. But the fact is, I didn't know about the meeting beforehand. Even Lemp didn't know about it in advance. The meeting was scheduled quickly that morning. There is no connection between it and our decision on presidential endorsements of any suggestion, and any suggestion otherwise is false. When it comes to the appearance of conflict, I am not an ideal owner of the Post. Every day, somewhere, some Amazon executive or Blue Origin executive or someone from other philanthropies and companies I own or invest in is meeting with government officials. I once wrote that the Post is a complexifier for me. It is, but it turns out I'm also a complexifier for the Post. You can see my wealth and business interests as a bulwark against intimidation, or you can see them as a web of conflicting interests. Only my own principles can tip the balance from one to the other. I assure you that my views here are, in fact, principled. And I believe my track record as the owner of the Post since 2013 backs this up. You are, of course, free to make your own determination, but I challenge you to find one instance in those 11 years where I have prevailed upon anyone on the Post in favor of my own interests. It hasn't happened. He's saying, listen, since I own the Post in 2013, you ain't seen it where I influence anything that happens at it. And even though I have a lot of money and power, it shows that I can be a complexifier, or I can conflict what is happening over here in the media. But in reality, I let them do what they do. He goes on to say, lack of credibility isn't unique to the Post. Our brethren newspapers have the same issue. All media has the same issue, is what he's saying. And it's a problem not only for the media, but also for the nation. Many people are turning to off-the-cuff podcasts, inaccurate social media posts, and other unverified news sources, which can quickly spread misinformation. I don't like that. And deepen divisions. But he's right. There's a lot of these podcasts, and a lot of these people are swayed because they're bought by the media and they're bought by the establishment. Not over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. The Washington Post and the New York Times win prizes, but increasingly we talk only to a certain elite. More and more we talk to ourselves. It wasn't always this way. In the 1990s, we achieved 80% household penetration in the DC metro area. While I do not and will not push my personal interests, I will also not allow this paper to stay on autopilot and fade into irrelevance, overtaken by unresearched podcasts and social media barbs. He's saying that the newspaper should be more credible than over here at Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Not without a fight, he says. It's too important, the stakes are too high, and now more than ever, the world needs a credible, trusted, independent voice, and we're better for that voice to originate than the capital city of the most important country of the world. To win this fight, we will have to exercise new muscles. Some changes will be to return to the past, some will be new inventions. Criticism will be a part and parcel of anything new, of course. This is the way of the world. None of this will be easy, but it will be worth it. I am so grateful to be a part of this endeavor, and many of the finest journalists you find anywhere work at the Washington Post, and they work painstakingly every day to get the truth. They deserve to be believed. That is Jeff Bezos' op-ed inside of the Washington Post to then bring credibility back to the organization, as well as credibility back to newspapers in general. He is saying, listen, I am not going to tell you what my personal interests are, but they do not conflict and they do not bleed into what's happening over at the Washington Post. We need to have more credibility. We need to be working hard to be a trusted source. And we are no longer going to be endorsing presidential candidates for the United States of America. And I agree with the move 100%. I agree. And as a business move, it also helps and bring credibility, because I've never actually really looked at the Washington Post as credible, but I am considering it now.
Before Bezos published that op-ed, I spoke with Marty Barron, the former executive editor for the paper. He's also the author of Collision of Power, Trump, Bezos, and the Washington Post. Marty, so good to see you. I wish it was on a day when you weren't this upset, angry. You've described this decision as a betrayal, and you've called it spineless. Tell us why.
Well, look, for the entire time that I was executive editor of the Post, Jeff Bezos stood behind us. He supported our independence with a lot of integrity, with a lot of spine, despite enormous pressure from Donald Trump. But that doesn't appear to be the case today. That's the way it was, but it's not the way it is. Look, the Post has a history and a heritage of standing up to power, to holding powerful individuals and institutions accountable, particularly the President of the United States, who is unquestionably the most powerful person in the world. And so, this decision was not made 3 years.
This dude has already lost his credibility, and I could tell because he's on MSNBC. But he's lost his credibility because he's already saying that the president is the most powerful person in the world. No, they're not. And anybody in their right mind understands and knows that the president is not the most powerful person in the world. That is lies. That is false. That is false propaganda. It is not true. We all know that the president is controlled. And most of the time they're just puppets, which is one of the reasons why we want Donald Trump in there, because we want him to drain the swamp.
2 years ago, a year ago, outside of the election cycle. It was made right within a couple of weeks of the election itself, without any substantive discussion with the editorial board itself. So there are a lot of questions about how this was done and why this was done and why it was done right now. And it looks to be that it was because of concern over Jeff Bezos's other commercial interests, Amazon and his space company, Blue Origin.
So let's talk about that, because you wrote in your book specifically that in 2016, when asked or approached about a presidential endorsement, Jeff Bezos said, sure, why not? Talk to us about how things are so different. I mean, specifically Blue Origin, they're practically on the eve of getting contracts with NASA. And we know the biggest private space company that gets those contracts is Elon Musk's SpaceX. And obviously, Elon Musk is very close with Donald Trump.
Sure. Well, look, things are a little bit different than during the first 4 years for Trump in the White House. So if he gets in again, look, he has talked about exacting vengeance on his perceived political enemy. He's always considered Jeff Bezos to be a political enemy solely because of the coverage of the Washington Post, particularly its investigative work. Toward the end of the first 4 years, he was clearly Trump was putting loyalists in top positions, and he was running the government the way that I would expect that he will run the government if he gets back into the White House.
So you telling me that they are mad because Jeff Bezos declined to endorse, or he prevented the Washington Post in order to bring credibility back to the organization. He declined, and he did not allow for them, and is no longer going to have them endorse a presidential candidate, which I've largely said that they need to opt out of it. And when they do, then they need to put it as an opinion and not necessarily as the endorsement of the actual organization itself. I don't think that the UAW is endorsing Kamala Harris for president just because Sean Fain, the president of UAW, said and they backing him. It's a lot of UAW members that don't back Kamala Harris for president of the United States of America. But they will say the UAW backs it, but the membership in the UAW absolutely all are not backing Kamala Harris for the United States of America. So I think that it's a lot of organizations that need to opt out of endorsing a president because it doesn't move the needle, A, and then it shows that you're biased. And if you do decide that you want to endorse a president, then you need to endorse it as an individual and not force your company to do so. Let me get another perspective. I want to get the opposite perspective of MSNBC on there. And I want to get Fox News on there. Let's see what they got to say.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks so much for being with us here. Well, the race for the White House is on. We are 8 days away from the presidential election. I want to follow up on a story we brought you last week in the wake of some of these major newspapers nationwide opting out of endorsing any candidate this cycle. It all kind of started with the LA Times deciding not to endorse. Then the Washington Post following suit as well. Well, in the wake of that decision, NPR is reporting this. Take a look at this. David Folkenflik there at NPR with this, saying more than 200,000 subscribers have canceled their digital subscriptions to the Washington Post.
They got over, so wait a minute, if that's 8%, do they have that many subscribers to the Washington Post? Let me go to this stupid website, these newspapers. These newspapers is dying entities, and they got that level of subscriptions? We got a lot more work to do. That just motivates me. If these trash organizations have this level of coverage, look how old this stuff looks. This is so old. People actually go on here and they subscribe to this crap? Seriously? Seriously? Do y'all actually go when y'all go to the websites of these newspapers? I go to Bloomberg and Market Watch and stuff like that. We talk about that inside of the Patreon. Seriously, y'all look at this crap? Jesus Christ. Anyways, moving on. So they're saying over 200,000 people moved their subscription because he refused to endorse Harris. Y'all saying that it's 2.2 thousand? I don't even know who reads this crap anymore. Anyways, we can move on to the next thing. It's no point in beating a dead horse. Actually, I want to just move straight into San Francisco. So I want to spend 10 minutes on this really quickly, and then we're going to move over into the next section. A lot of people are complaining about housing, that it's unaffordable. I've had the pleasure of being able to research and see what the cultures are like outside of the United States of America. And often at times, I compare it to what's happening here. One of the things that's been my lifelong mission and the passion project for me, but I've never really understood how to solve for it, was homelessness, the affordability crisis. It might have even pushed me into the realm that I'm in right now from a business perspective and building homes. Now, I know that I'm not a major builder. Maybe 1 year, 10 years from now, maybe I'll be a massive builder and I'll be taking advantage of all of the subsidies that come with building homes because we'll be in a socialist space. Who knows? That's dependent on if we get people like J.D. Vance and Trump inside of office that then keep capitalism alive. Either way, I benefit. But here's the thing. One of the things that people know about me, and I've said this often at times, is that I don't believe in price gouging. One of the benefits that come along with owning it 100% outright and not having a mortgage is that I don't have to pass that cost over to the consumer, and I can pass minimal costs over to the consumer and still be profitable while increasing the value of the home, which means that I benefit, they benefit because they have more money to be able to spend on the things that's meaningful to them. They become a long-term tenant because I basically pigeonholed them. All right, now I got to give you my sauce. I don't usually get this. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. I'm going to talk about this in Block Club. You know what? One of the reasons why I've never had anybody move out of any of my properties? It's because I trap them. I trap them. Anton, how do you trap people into your properties? Well, I believe that I'm a phenomenal partner when it comes to being a landlord. I don't bother anybody. Once I vet you out to be somebody that I actually want to rent in my properties, usually you like it so much that you take care of it. I tend to look for people that have small children because I want them to be invested in the school system and so they become long-term tenants. But one of the reasons why they never leave is because they'll never be able to find a better neighborhood, better school system, and they'll never be able to get it at the price that I give it to them for, because very rarely do I ever increase how much I'm charging for rent because I can afford to do so because I don't have any mortgages. My only cost associated with it is the insurance and the property taxes. And as long as you maintain the property, which is not very hard to do, I'll take care of the big stuff. I don't have to worry about it because I'm building houses now. I usually buy them turnkey, so the roof is usually really good. I'll do the water heater. I'll do if anything happens with the HVAC or something like that. But very rarely do anything comes up. And so I trap the people into my properties because I don't increase the price. And so essentially, they can't afford to leave because they can't ever find anything that gives them the type of value in a good neighborhood at the price that they're paying. So I trap them. I mean, they can leave if they ever want to, but why would they? You're paying less than everybody else, you're getting more value, and you know who your neighbors are, your kids is invested in the school system, and so you want to pay your stuff on time because you don't ever want to ruin a relationship that you have with me, because you want to make sure that you're maintaining staying in this home and that I never actually say, hey, I'm about to put you, I'm moving this house or I'm about to sell it or something. When you're a good tenant and I'm a good landlord, it makes for a great relationship because everybody benefits. So I essentially trap you, and you kind of trap me too with being a good tenant because I have no reason to ever want you to leave. And that's the key to good business. I trap the people that actually live stream with me because I treat them well. I make sure that I take care of them. I give them resources. I give them support wherever it is that they ask for me to give them support. Anton, you want to come on my show? Absolutely. Anton, hey, let's push your show. Let's do what you got to do. And so why would they ever leave what we doing and what we putting together instead of being loyal? Because I'm going to make sure that you get every single thing that you need in order to be successful. My goal as a business person is to trap you. Is to forever have you as a person that is a part of what I'm doing from a business perspective, because it's going to be beneficial for both of us. You make money, you save money, you get a good neighborhood, you get a price that's much, much cheaper than anything else that you can find around you, and everybody and all of your friends is jealous because they not paying even close. You're paying less than half of what they paying because their landlord has to pay the mortgage, and they paying these crazy interest rates, and they trying to charge you in order to make improvements to the property. And I got a completely different strategy when it comes to real estate. I'm trapping you. But over in San Francisco, they have now gotten to the point where they're so expensive to where they're taking concepts from outside of the country, implementing it in San Francisco. And now, not only will you be living in tiny houses, you will be living in sleep pods. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Check it out. It's crazy.
Last year, we told you about people paying $700 to rent sleeping pods in San Francisco.
Well, the company running the site has been waiting for the city to grant them the right permits to reopen.
ABC 7 News reporter Luz Pena went back to their building and has an exclusive update for you. Luz?
Yes, Dan, San Francisco is the AI capital of the world, but not the housing capital of the world. In fact, we are far from that. This is one of the most expensive cities in the country. So if you want to be in the center of everything AI, it comes with a housing price for those who want to build housing and those who need it. In a city where the average rent price is $3,000 to $4,000 a month, sleeping in a pod for $700 a month is a deal.
I was living in the Presidio before and kind of looking for.
Listen to how y'all, look how y'all gonna be living, y'all. You will own nothing, and you will absolutely pay almost $1,000 a month to be in the nap pod. You gonna be in a bunk bed. A bunk bed, like you 13, like you 12, like you 11, like you just was able to get your own room and then your brother had to move into it because y'all had to downsize, and so y'all got bunk beds, and so he on the top bunk and you on the bottom bunk. Y'all gonna be in bunk beds. You paying $700 to $1,000 a month for a bunk bed. You can't even have company over. You can't have no girl come over because you sipping in a nap pod. That's insane. The first thing I thought of when I first heard this was I was thinking to myself, because I hadn't watched the article yet, like, oh yeah, we can get a pod because people are looking for temporary spaces. Maybe they want to go in like a hostel, or maybe they visit in a city temporarily and they're not looking for a whole hotel room. Maybe they get them a more affordable option, get them some lockers, get them a nap pod because they're not going to be there anyway. They're just stopping over and they moving into the next city. I didn't know that y'all was going to be renting this out to be staying there long term. That's insane.
$1 a month. Sleeping in a pod for $700 a month is a deal.
I was living in the Presidio before and kind of looking for cheaper options just so I could keep working on the stuff I wanted to and working on open source projects.
The majority of people who live here have the same goal: build a tech startup and make it big. So paying high rent prices is not part of the equation.
I'm originally from Shenzhen, China, but I just graduated from University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and then moved here after graduation.
How did you find this place?
I found it through a friend. He actually lives here right now.
But after this housing concept went viral,
look at y'all stuff. Now you got a fan above your head. You got a fan, homie. You got people walking around at your feet. Can you imagine? Listen. Some things is just unconscionable. I don't care if we building a tech startup. We can go and do it old school. We're going to work in somebody's garage. We're going to all rent a house and we're going to all work in the same garage or something like that. Dog, could you imagine going to sleep? First of all, when you get up, you got to get out vertical. Like you got to get out backwards, like a car backing out of a driveway. You got people walking past your feet. Somebody might walk past and tickle your feet. Somebody might walk past and tickle your feet. Dog, if you touch my feet, it's over. Me and you fighting. What if somebody walked past and tickle your feet? You know how back in the day when you was a kid and you would knock on the door and run? What if somebody tickle your feet and run? You don't know who it is. Hell no. Heck no. Nope.
In 2023, many here were at risk of losing
and you got to be on the bottom bunk. Oh no, this ain't nothing but a prisoner. This is like going to jail. This is like being in prison, in state prison.
City said the people running it.
What if somebody got roaches?
Didn't have the right permits.
There was actually never anything illegal about the pods. It was just
I don't even like no.
That we didn't have a change of use because this building used to be a bank.
For the first time, we're hearing exclusively from the co-owner of Brownstone Share Housing, the company that runs the pods. We got a look inside the building, a place he said almost didn't survive because of how long the permitting process took in San Francisco.
But there were no safety concerns. There's really no construction that we had to do to improve the building.
After over a year, he's glad they finally have the right approval for the pods. We contacted the Department of Building Inspections and they confirmed that on September 5th, the planning department issued a letter of approval for the sleeping pods. They also asked him to obtain paperwork for their shower stall and fix the front entry lock. The entrepreneurs inside hope the city makes the permitting process easier.
If this had existed 3 or 4 years ago, we probably wouldn't have lost so much early stage startups to Austin and Denver and places like that.
The company behind the pods is applying for a bigger place because if they have to wait another year for permits, might as well be for more than 30 pods.
So we're actually in the process of opening up a place that's about 5 times this size.
Y'all gonna be out here in a 6x9, sleeping in pods, and if you're too tall, then your feet gonna be hanging out the bottom of it, and people gonna be able to walk by and tickle your feet. What if the person that's under you? What if the person that's under you? What if he got a flatulence problem? What if the person that's next to you snore too loud? What if the person that's under you is Putin? Sorry, man. I had some Flamin' Hot Cheetos earlier today. No, dog. No. Can't tell. Hey, baby. We had a good day tonight. Let's go back to your place. You want to go back to my pod? That can't happen. That's unacceptable. No way. Nope. Pod life is not for me. I mean, podcasting life, but not the pod life. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to go to the next part of the show. That's when the beatboxing starts. Okay? Haven Project X is in the building and says, I reckon like Zuckerberg, Bezos is preparing for a Trump victory and is positioning the Washington Post to hold on to subscriptions, hence his announcement. He sees where the political winds is blowing. Yep. I think it's going to be a wash. I think it's going to absolutely be a wash. Big One of Dub says, I'm behind, but Obama was on the Pivot podcast. All right, I'll look at it. Chef 673 says, you'll never find a trap like you'll never find. Nope. Advanced Perception says, trying to figure out why anybody moves to California. Everybody trying to move away and turn Texas into California. People do this with no problem in Japan. I did it for 2 years when I lived in Japan. But guess what, though? Alan, I love Japan. I love Tokyo. I loved visiting it. But this is not Japan. This is the United States of America. We believe in being able to have freedom to take your pooch wherever it is that you want to take them without having to worry about somebody pooting on your head. I don't know why y'all always think that we supposed to adopt what other countries do. No, I want room. We already got condos where you got a wall in between you and the next person. Diddy Pods. Mr. Joe says they're not neighbors, they're bunkies. That's crazy. What the hell? These are overseas war deployment conditions. Are they serious with this? Yep. And they be no sleep, nothing. What if somebody had bed bugs? Hell to the no. Hell no. To the no. My God, pods are for pets, not people. Baby girl said, I ain't having it. I see you. Ray says, buddy having board meetings on the top bunk. That's crazy. Hey, man, you snoring too loud. Boom, 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 boom. Nope. Shout out to Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson says this is a high-end luxury homeless shelter. It's bad out here. Have y'all ever seen people that actually, it's people that's living in U-Haul vans. Imagine farting in your pod and the smell stays. Because it's trapped. It ain't got nowhere to go. Oh, and one more story for the road, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to see exactly what's happening in the Kamala Harris Biden economy. One of the things that's happening is layoffs in Chicago, closing a facility and everybody losing their job. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. This is a sad story, but you got to understand what's going on, and I want you to see what's happening in these streets. Hit a like for the algorithm, and let's get to it, y'all.
To see grown men and women crying because they don't know where to get their next check, it's sad. It hurts.
Now at 5:30, dozens of people finding themselves suddenly out of a job after Pepsi abruptly closed its only Chicago area plant. As WGN's Andrea Medina reports now, the workers' union says the closure came without warning.
I'm emotional right now. Don't want to break down.
Daryl Smith showed up to work at the PepsiCo plant on 51st Street in back of the yards on Monday morning, just like he had for the last 29 years. But the forklift operator and union steward soon learned he and 78 other workers were being let go.
We shut the plants down, get some garbage bags, get your stuff out, and leave.
PepsiCo announced that their Southwest Side facility is now closed due to what the company calls physical limitations. The more than 60-year building was used for producing and distributing beverages. Employees have described the abrupt decision as a gut-wrenching shock.
It just made it seem like they woke up yesterday like, oh, we're just going to shut down 51st. Like, that's all, because they couldn't answer no questions. They was like, they don't know what's going on.
You think they would be bigger than this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just messed up on the way they did it. I mean, they could have did it way better.
As if the news wasn't bad enough for the employees, they say they were escorted off the property by Chicago police officers. They indicated that this added another layer of distress to an already tough situation.
It was kind of crazy, like, this is how y'all treat like your employees.
Teamsters Local 727 claims the plant closed without any prior warning. They say at 5:45 this morning, PepsiCo sent an email to union members detailing the plant's immediate closure. But union reps argue that violates the WARN Act, which requires employers with 75 or more full-time employees to give 60 days advance notice of pending plant closures or mass layoffs.
This is the first time I've ever heard of people being told you are laid off effective immediately at this scale with no notice and really no answers of any kind.
PepsiCo released a statement acknowledging that the decision to close the 51st Street plant was difficult, but that it met all applicable legal requirements. Employees will receive their full wages and benefits through December 28th unless they resign before that date. The company also says it will work with union leaders to address the details of the closure. This unexpected shutdown has left dozens of workers facing uncertainty about their futures.
A lot of people want to retire from here. A lot of people have put their kids through school here. bought homes. You got people living from paycheck to paycheck.
The union says there are other workers at the plant, but it's not clear what will happen to them. Nonetheless, they're determined to ensure the affected 79 employees are supported. Reporting from back of the yard.
This is something that has been extremely frustrating for many of the workers here. Like you said, they showed up to work and within, they say, just a couple of minutes asked to go home and try to very quickly find a new job.
No notice, none of that. Blindsided.
Eric Gadsden has been a Pepsi truck driver for 21 years. That was until he was notified showing up at work this morning that Pepsi will permanently close the 51st Street facility in Chicago, effective immediately.
I'm the sole provider in my household. And, you know, my wife has MS. My daughter's about to go to college next year. So I can't put into words what I feel right now.
Gadsden says he was just 9 years away from retirement, but now was forced to start from scratch elsewhere.
Hey, I want them to go ahead and contact the Biden and Harris campaign and see what they can do because they told them to go and thank a union member, okay?
Statement from the Teamsters Local 727 union, who represents the workers here, says Pepsi's late notice is in violation of the WARN Act, which requires employers with 75 or more full-time employees to provide 60 days advance notice of pending plant closures or mass layoffs, calling the decision disgusting and a disgrace.
Being 58 years old, it's like starting all over again.
It's like getting out of prison. That's what it's going to feel like for you. It's going to be like, oh, man, I ain't never had to do a resume in my life. I ain't never had another job. I ain't got no skill set, none of that type of stuff. And I feel bad for these people. But this is the economy in the world that we live in, and now it's going away.
It's going to be hard.
Gadsden says more than 200 people work at this plant. He says Pepsi has agreed to continue pay and provide benefits through the end of December, but says this experience is going to take all of his faith to get through.
My message to my coworkers is, you know, God closes one door and opens up another, and it might be better.
Yeah, I used to think that too. Back when I was, I remember when I had lost my job at the steel mill, I was like, God closes one door and he opens up another. You know the door that was opening up? The one from the repo man that was coming to get my car. Yeah, that was like in 2006 or something like that. 2007, exactly. 2006, 2007. I said, man, listen, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. God closed one door so we can open up another. The repo man was like, hey, Anton, I need that truck. And I need that car at the same. I'm going to come back and get the car. I need the truck and I need the car. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not sitting here telling you no lies. I'm telling you the truth. One of the things that was beneficial for me, though, is that I had work ethic and I refused to be down for a long period of time. So I made the adjustment and I got back on my grind and, you know, I just got it. But I will say this, though. I just feel so bad. I just feel bad for a lot of people because they're not the only ones. There's a lot of people that's going through layoffs. It's a lot of recruiters losing their job, a lot of HR personnel, a lot of tech workers losing their jobs. They keep telling us that the majority of their jobs is rocking out, but I'm telling you that there's people worried in all sectors. There's people worried in the manufacturing sector. There's people worried in the services sector. And it's people that don't have no education. They thought that they could just get a job out of high school, that they would work for the next 30 years. Eventually they retire. They combine it with their Social Security check, retire at 65 and a half, and then they could just go into the sunset and then just maybe be able to survive for the rest of their life without having to worry about being homeless. And guess what? That's upended. It's 100% upended. And what I would encourage people to do personally is do not take anything for granted and do not leave anything at risk because you complaining about it is not going to translate into solutions. Number one, most of us is voting against our own best interests. We voting anti-business, we overtaxing, and it is leaving you with nothing. Number two, I would say that you need to stay working on yourself, stay investing in yourself, and stay educating yourself. You got to have a 3-tier system. And I'm not going to go into that again because that's usually what I do on coaching calls. And that's what I do inside of the Patreon. But you got to have a 3-tier system. The 3-tier system is what you got to do now in order to feed your family, what you're doing that's going to pay off for you in 2 to 5 years, and what's going to pay off for you in the next 10 years. Even right now, I continue to invest in it. A lot of the Patreon members know I dropped a video that showed that I had 8 sources of income. 8 sources of income. And I am in a position where I'll probably never have to work again for the rest of my life and can maintain my lifestyle because I have so much that's generating revenue. It's like that. But I'm telling you, if y'all are waiting on the federal government in order to secure your job, if you think that you're safe at your employer, you have to assume that you're not and just and assume the worst, hope for the best. If you are safe, then that's cool. But don't wait for them to give you nothing, or don't wait for something to happen to you before you can pivot and make the adjustment. The worst thing that you can do, especially as a man, the worst thing you can do is get caught with your pants down, figuratively speaking, and then next thing you know, everything you work for is being taken away within the next year, year and a half, because you can't maintain it. You don't have the same skill set. You thought that you was going to be working at the same place forever. And now you're hoping and praying, and next thing you know, your chick is at a kitchen and a pantry getting free food, trying to make sure that y'all can eat. He got a daughter that's probably going to college soon, and he anticipated probably putting her through college, funding the rest of his entire retirement, and then eventually retiring. And now all of that is upended, and it's like he got to start over. I feel sorry for the American people. I feel sorry for the people that's waiting for the government to save you. They not going to save you. They not going to save you. It's not. Either you're going to get it, either you're going to work it, either you're going to run it up, or you're going to be asked out and you're going to be left in the dark and you're going to be trying to figure out what happened while you voted a certain way, and ain't nobody going to come and help you and save you at all. You might as well be a migrant. You might as well be worse than a migrant. You get more benefits being a migrant than this. Pay off y'all stuff, shore up your skill set, invest in your businesses, lower your lifestyle, and put yourself in a position of power. And don't wait for anything or anybody to save you. It's not their responsibility, it's yours. That's my message. I feel sorry for the people that are laid off. I've been through it multiple different times myself. And after that, I made up in my mind when I got laid off from the steel mill, or when I got fired from the steel mill, I said this will never happen again. I'm never going to be in a position where I'm hoping that unemployment can bridge me between jobs. It just can't happen. Can't happen. And from then on, it changed my life. From then on, it changed my life, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. It's been an awesome show, even though we had a slight interruption with our connection for a minute. Tune in to After Hours tonight. We're going to get it in. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then make sure you get your tickets. I'm expecting to see a lot of y'all in Atlanta this weekend. It's going to be fun. Meanwhile, this is true for future entrepreneurs, how to save money and allocate it for success for their businesses, not long time living. That's a fact. Devastator says, Pepsi is laying people off now. That's messed up. Yep. It's bad. It's bad. I told y'all it's bad out here and it's going to get worse. That's why Coca-Cola is better. Jesus. The Haven Project X says, Anton, by the way, Carrie looks like she's going to be the new Cassie J, the Red Pill movie. I see a video montage of her maturity coming up in the future. If you are so inclined, good work. Shout out to Carrie, my girl. Y'all gonna see her on the show tonight. Dominic Robertson says, why people be wanting businesses to move with emotions? Nothing can survive operations out of emotion. That's true. They don't care about you. They care about their bottom line, and they care about the shareholders and the board of directors. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully I missed nothing in my break of connection. I actually got a new fiber being ran up in here, so not just the business internet, but the fiber and all of that. So we making adjustments. We got a whole lot of investments. I got over $100,000 that's going to be plowed into this place. James says, what happened at a warehouse I worked in 2020? My coworker, who was a single mom, was crying like crazy. Her 2 older sons were working there too. Ooh, man, that's tough. That's tough. Thank you, James, for holding me down. Listen, again, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all do the thing that's in the best interest of your family and in the best interest of yourself. Subscribe if you haven't already on your way out the door. I try to add value into y'all life and keep y'all entertained for the next 2.5 hours. Every Monday through Friday, send this to your friends and family and hit a like for the algorithm. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.